Hello and good evening, everyone. This is Jacqui Close, and I want to welcome you. This is our monthly online Young Living Oils and Product webinar. And Ed, you're online with me, aren't you?
I am. I'm right here.
Okay, great. And Dana Christensen is supposed to be joining us, but I haven't seen her show up yet, so hopefully she will be with us soon. We'll go ahead and get started with tonight's presentation. There's that picture of me was taken 9 months before I had kidney failure. So just so you know that. So that was
She's just as pretty now as she was then, in my opinion, or more. So.
Thank you, honey. And that picture was taken the first part of 2012. And not that long ago, and that's Dana. And Ed and I are Young Living Goals, and Dana is the Young Living Silver. This month our topic is easy, quick tips to business tax write-offs. And you know, even for people who own their own business, this is important because you will have people who come in, especially if you're building a business in Young Living, you'll have people who come into your organization who don't know about these business tax tips, and you need to be able to help them know how to find information so they understand how they can save so much more money than they're going to actually spend on their products every month with just a little bit of effort. And that's because these are huge tax write-offs available to small business owners. Now, the folks that are online, if you could raise your hands, did you watch the videos that were in the two videos that I sent out in the email this week so that you could get signed up for tonight's training? So if you could raise your hands just to let me know whether you actually watched those two videos. I've got one person responding, and if you haven't been on before, the webinar panel will sometimes close itself up, and there should be a little arrow up near the right-hand top of your screen. And if you click on that arrow, it should open the panel back up for you, and then you can find a place where you can click to raise your hand. So anybody else watch those two videos before tonight's training? They were really, really important videos to see. Okay, I'm getting a few hands, but not many. Okay. Well, if you haven't watched those videos, I'm going to lower everybody's hands. If you haven't watched those videos, then you need to be sure and do that, because they are going to be tremendously helpful, and they're not very long. And again, even if you own a business, knowing about these videos and how to point other people to them will make a huge difference for you and your success in Young Living. Because, you know, nobody wants to be out of pocket, and the tax code is not easy. I found this cartoon online. It says, mouse traps were designed like the income tax code. This is what it would look like. And that's definitely, if you've ever done taxes, and I have, that is definitely the way you feel. So you really want to be able to make sure that you find easy ways to take care of these situations. So first of all, that you can take all the deductions that you get, because hey, we don't like filing taxes, but we sure do like the refunds that come in, don't we? I know I do, but I would much rather be able to keep more of that money during the year. And this is another thing that will help people build their business. We're going to talk a little bit about that as we go on. So here are just a few of the business tax write-offs that you're already spending this money, most of you or all of you. But when you do Young Living as a business, you get to take all these incredible write-offs for things that you wouldn't necessarily think about. For instance, everybody has a phone, whether you work for somebody else or not, pretty much these days. I mean, even our kids, a lot of them do. And, you know, your phone is just an expense unless you can write it off. And then it's not so much of an expense. It really reduces that expense tremendously. Your internet connection. How many of you know that you can write off your internet connection? Your computer, your printer, office furniture, any kind of office furniture and equipment. Meals when you eat out. Now, it depends on, there are different rules, and right now my understanding is if you're taking somebody out to eat, you only can write off 50% of that. But still, if you take somebody out to eat, you get to write off 50% of that. So, you know, if every time you go out to eat, you're talking to somebody about Young Living, that's a business write-off. If you travel, and then if you do it the right way and with a little bit of planning ahead of time, you can write off all of your travel, even personal travel, because if your primary purpose is to be able to conduct business, then you get to write that off. Or if the majority of your business, if the majority of your travel is for business purposes, then even if you go for 5 days, and 3 days are for business and 2 days are for personal, then you get to write everything off. If you do like we do sometimes when we've got personal travel, we'll try to do something every day related to our Young Living business with somebody locally. And, you know, if you've got relatives in other states and you want to go see them and talk to them about Young Living, then you can write all of that off if that's your purpose in going. So you also get to write off every box of paper and ink, all of your office supplies, vehicle mileage, which is a huge write-off, and even more, if you have a room in your house that's dedicated to your business or even just a corner of your house, you can write off the square footage, the cost for your rent or your mortgage or house cleaning or whatever is attributed to your business. You get that much of a write-off. But now it has to be dedicated to business. It's like, so if you've got a corner of an apartment, then you take the total square footage of the apartment and you find out how much of that apartment is actually dedicated to your business, and then you can write off that portion of your rent. If you live in a house and you're paying a mortgage, you can write off that portion of your mortgage. And this is true for other things, utilities. If you have your own house and you have somebody come and do your lawn or clean your house, you get to write off a portion of that. So all of these things that are currently expenses that take money out of your pocket can become write-offs that put money back in your pocket. And there are many, many more. And if you're currently employed and receiving a paycheck, thanks to all the small business tax deductions you can take advantage of, you can reduce the amount of taxes being withheld from your paycheck right now and give yourself an instant raise. And I'll tell you how to do that in just a little while. Now, I want you to know I'm not a tax consultant. Ed and I, neither one are tax consultants. We're not tax experts and we're not CPAs. But I am going to share with you 3 resources who are all tax experts, and these are the people that I rely on. And I'll tell you a little bit about each one of them. So the first one here is Sandy Botkin. He's a lawyer and a CPA. He wrote the book Lower Your Taxes Big Time, Wealth Building Tax Reduction Secrets from an IRS Insider. And this is a Kindle book, so it's relatively inexpensive as these things go. I can't remember the exact price, but I think it was about $12, $12 or $13. And Sandy Botkin actually created TaxBot, which is an app you can download for your phone, for your smartphone. And if you are challenged to be able to maintain records and that sort of thing, but you love using apps on your phone, then I would highly recommend TaxBot. This is Ronald Mueller, Dr. Ron Mueller. He's an MBA and a PhD, and his website is www.homebusinesstaxsavings.com. And both of these folks are, there are videos from each one of them that I sent out in that email earlier this week so that you could watch it. And there are other videos you can find about them. In fact, they're both on YouTube. So, you could just do a YouTube search to find them. Ron Mueller wrote this book, Home Business Tax Savings Made Easy. And he, I think the cost for his book is $37 or $39. So you could see that Sandy Botkin's Kindle version would be less expensive if that's of concern to you. But Ron Mueller, and the reason I put his website up here, Sandy Botkin doesn't have a whole lot of free stuff on his website, but Ron Mueller does. So it's a great place that you can get educated, lots of information, lots of forms you can download, and he has a fantastic website if you're looking for help with business tax savings. And then we have all of our accounting and taxes done by Laura Lee Wellman. And Laura Lee has been doing accounting and taxes for over 15 years. Her website is arborcreektaxservice.com. That's arborcreektaxservice.com. She is in the Kansas City area. She also happens to be David Stewart's daughter, and she's had a tremendous amount of experience doing accounting and taxes for small business owners, and she kept Dave and Lee out of trouble with the IRS when they got audited. If it hadn't been for her, they would have been in big trouble. And this is the real value and benefit of having someone handle all of your accounting and taxes. And she doesn't charge a huge amount. If you hired someone to come in and do your accounting and taxes for you, you would be looking at somewhere between $15,000 and $50,000 a year, plus you then have to pay not only their salary, but you have to pay benefits, and you have to provide insurance, and you have to pay taxes on them. And so, a person's salary, if they get $15,000 to $25,000 or $50,000 a year, they actually are costing their employer usually close to double that amount. So it is a huge burden for a business owner to have employees in terms of the amount of money they have to bring in order to pay these. But you can hire Laura Lee, like she does our accounting. I fax or email or do copies of receipts or have copies sent to me in an email. If I go into stores like Staples, they'll send you an email copy of your receipt. And so then I just forward them on to her, and she takes care of everything for me. She files all the forms, and she does all of this for about $200 or $300 a month. So she takes care of all of our taxes and all of our accounting for us. And we had to do this when I had kidney failure because Ed was not a tax accountant and not able to handle the bookkeeping and take care of me. It was just way too much. But fortunately, we had already established having Laura Lee do our taxes every year. And I had been in bookkeeping and accounting since I was 16 years old, so I did that for us. But when I got sick, I couldn't do it. And we turned it over to Laura Lee, and she said, well, if I'm doing all of this, then if you ever get audited, you don't have to deal with the IRS at all. I will deal with them myself. And we have a few people in our organization who are CPAs. I hope to maybe have some of them come on and talk to you sometime. But tonight it's just me, and I thought Dana was going to be here, but she still, as far as I know, hasn't shown up. Anyway, so this is what one single deduction can do for you. We're just going to look at one, the mileage, vehicle mileage, so the business use of your vehicle. In 2014, when you claim business use of your vehicle, the government allows you to take 56 cents per mile traveled, and that becomes a deduction off of what you owe. So if you're a business builder and you've got income coming in from Young Living, let's see what would happen. Let's say you had $5,000 or $6,000 a year in income from Young Living. Now, we have a lot more than that, but let's say that's all you had. The average person travels 12,000 miles a year. If you've got a job, you're having to travel, and you can't, sorry about that, that's my fax line. If you have a job, you have to travel every day and put mileage on that vehicle, but you can't write that off, so it's just money out the door. But if you are using your vehicle for business purposes, and if you work from your home like we do, the only time we go out in a vehicle is if we're going out for something either related to business or doctor visit or something like that. If your primary reason for going away from your home is to be able to do business with your let's say conduct Young Living business, then that is a business expense that you can write off. And these guys, Ron Mueller and Sandy Botkin, have said, and so I'm just telling you what they've told me, they have said that if you have a post office box and a bank that's set up specifically for your business, and all your business mail goes to your post office, then if your post office is near where you work, then if you go and check that post office every day on the way to work, then your round trip becomes business mileage. If you go to the bank on your way to work or on the way home, well, I would say on your way to work or during the day, that's business mileage if it's related to your business. So it becomes very easy to write off a huge amount of what you actually travel each year. So if you travel 12,000 miles a year at 56 cents a mile, you would get $6,720 back off your taxes. That's over $6,000 in 1 year. And we do this, I mean, we do this or more every year with our two vehicles. But let's say you only traveled half that much that was business mileage. If you only traveled 6,000 miles a year that was actually business mileage at 56 cents a mile, you would still get $3,360 back of money that you would have spent for gas and maintenance. That is no longer coming out of your pocket. So this is huge, and it's one of the easiest things to be able to recoup money during the year. Now, one thing I heard Sandy Botkin say one time, if you are driving down the road and you don't have a way to write that off as a business expense, you might as well throw out a dollar bill out the window every 2 miles. So if you think about that, if you don't keep track of your vehicle mileage and you're using it for business, you're basically throwing away a dollar of income every time you travel 2 miles. So just keep that in mind. Now, there's another thing here, another deduction that has been huge for us, and that is that Young Living requires that you have a 100 PV Essential Rewards order to be able to qualify for all the bonuses and commissions. You can get paid some if you don't have that, but if you want to get paid all the bonuses and commissions, you have to have a 100 PV Essential Rewards order that processes every month. Well, that is a cost of doing business because it is a cost of producing income. And so your $100 a month Essential Rewards order plus shipping and taxes is a write-off. So you can actually way more than cover the cost of your monthly product orders through tax deductions. Now, record keeping is key. TaxBot for your phone. Hey, if you like using your phone, this thing is really great. It does have a monthly fee associated with it, but it's fantastic option. Very easy. I used it for several months, but because I already had accounting systems in place, it wasn't that important to me. I just used it so I could see how it worked, and it's really a powerful little app. Ron Mueller's website, if you want to know more about taking care of record keeping, he has a lot of forms that are there for you that are just ready for the taking, and he gives them away free. Sandy Botkin's Kindle book. I would recommend, I've purchased several of Ron Mueller's books and given them away. I think I still have one here. I've not read Sandy Botkin's Kindle book, but if money is an issue, then I would recommend reading that and seeing, because I can't imagine that it wouldn't be full of good information. TaxBot's great, and I've heard a number of his online webinars in the past, and he's always done a great job. So I would imagine that'll be a really good book. But if you're like most people and you don't really know how to allocate expenses or decide what categories or what accounts they should go into or what forms you have to file or when you have to file them, and you don't want to deal with that, then find a good accounting service that will help you in the event of an audit. And if you don't have one, then I would recommend Laura Lee Wellman. She's been a tremendous assistant and help for us, and I don't know what we would have done when I had kidney failure if it wasn't for her, because she took care of everything. She even paid our bills because Ed was focused on taking care of me. Isn't that right, honey? Are you there, honey?
I am. I had muted myself out so any background noise wouldn't bother. Yeah, that plus, as you know, I had about a dozen other things going on too. But yeah, at that particular point in time, it would have been overwhelming if I'd had to try to dig in and pay all of our bills and everything on top of moving and taking care of you and the other commitments that I had. So it was a lifesaver.
And being able to just forward things to her and send things to her and have her make sure that we get everything filed on time. I don't even have to think about that stuff. That's worth a huge amount of money to me. And I just cannot tell you how thankful I am for her every day. And she has a whole staff. It's not just her by herself. She actually managed 15 of the tax companies. You know, there's a tax company that's on all the internet and on the television and everything. Anyway, she managed 15 offices for them, so she's really sharp. She really knows what she's doing. You can also find a lot of YouTube videos, and you can always look up Ron Mueller and Sandy Botkin if you want to be able to find videos that you know are going to be good about taxes from them. TaxBot, this is a free app that you can download to your phone. They do charge a monthly service fee. My memory is that it was $9.95 a month, so basically $10 a month. And $10 a month, folks, that's nothing. And it keeps all the records for you. You have to put them in or take pictures with your phone, but it really manages stuff and loads it up to the cloud. It's all there. You can send everything to your tax accountant that way. If they're just doing your taxes, you can send it all to them in a big database. So it really makes life a lot easier if you want to use something that's user-friendly and easy. If you're like most of us, and Ed and I are certainly this way, we grew up using a pencil and paper, and so kind of old school. We just feel more comfortable doing things that way because that's the way we've always done them. But this is a printed envelope that you can, I've got this in a PDF document if you want it. Just send me an email to my email address, and you're in my group, so you know my email address, and tell me that you want the income expense journal that I talked about in our latest business training. And what you do is you print this out on a regular standard number 10 business envelope, and it has a place for the name of what you did in a description, or the name of the company, the month and the year. And what you do is you list all of your expenses, whether it was income or expense. You can use this, okay? If you got money from somebody for something, I got money, let's say, from John Joe or John James, we'll say John James, for a essential oils consultation, and he gave me $25. So that would be income. I went to Staples, I purchased office supplies, and that would be an expense. And then you can put everything in this envelope in terms of your accounting receipts, and that way you've always got them, and then you've got them in little monthly folders. You can stick this in your purse. It is so easy. And for guys, you can get a, what we've found is that if you get a bank bag, they're fairly inexpensive and they zip up, and you can just drop this in your truck or in your briefcase, and that way you've got it with you. And instead of shoving receipts in your purse or in your console or whatever, you just open up that bag and stick it in this envelope and write down what it was for, and that way you don't have to try and remember later on or at the end of the year, or if you get audited. It's all written right there. You've got a perfect record. Now, how easy is that? Now, we use this Adams vehicle mileage log. This is what we use in our vehicles, and it's just really simple. On the left-hand side, it has a place for the date and a description of where you're going and what you're doing and why, and it's just one line. So like YL, FedEx, or we went to Paducah, Kentucky the other day for a YL meeting. It was a YL business meeting with Von Harding, and I just wrote the date and Paducah, Kentucky YL business meeting, and then we put down the starting mileage, and we just record the starting mileage each time when we leave, because the starting mileage for a new trip is going to be the ending mileage for the previous one. So it's real simple. It's just so easy. Now, that used to cost about $1 a piece. They've gone up. You can still find them for about $2 on the web, on the internet. But at Staples, last time they were almost $4 when I bought them. So, you know, but that's still relatively inexpensive. And what I do is then put everything in a program that actually adds everything up for me at the end of the year, and I just list the miles for each month. I total up the miles for each month, total up the miles for business and personal use, and doctor attendance or whatever, hospital medical use. You also, there's a deduction for charity use of your vehicle, so you could write any and all of that in here if you had that. And then I just total it up, and I send that log where I've totaled each month to Lauralee, and she then uses that to write off mileage for our vehicles. Now, you can go the other way and write off your payment and write off all your expenses. You need a tax accountant or a consultant to tell you which way is most beneficial to you. And now this is a 2014 vehicle use log that you can print out on your computer and just fold it in half and stick it in your car. And you can get this this is at Ron Miller's website, homebusinesstaxsavings.com, and /uploads/2014 vehicle use log.pdf. So that's where I went, and this is just a screenshot that I grabbed a part of the screen. And you can see it shows you the date, the starting odometer, the ending odometer, the miles traveled, and it includes expenses, gases, tolls, and you write down for everything where your destination was and what your primary purpose in going there was. That's all you need to be able to document your mileage use of your vehicle. I mean, it's really simple. So it's not like you have to spend hours and hours doing things. You can do this in a matter of less than a minute each time you get in your vehicle. I mean, it's just a matter of getting yourself trained to do it each time. So that's pretty much it for today. We've shared easy, quick tips for tax write-offs. We've shared with you 3 experts and 1 phone app that's available, and then shown you 2 free documents and how you can get them. And we've also told you how you could give yourself a $3,000 to $5,000 a year raise today and fund your business. So I'll just go into that just slightly more. If you are taking advantage of your tax write-offs, your business expenses are going to give you far more than a $3,000 to $5,000 a year write-off. It will give you enough to actually have that raise. How do you get it today? If you are currently employed by someone else and you are getting a paycheck, then if you determine that you are going to do Young Living as a business, and this is huge, it has been decided in court, according to these tax experts, Ron Mueller and Sandy Botkin, that if you work your business 45 minutes a day, 5 days a week, or as little as 3 or 4 hours a week at all on a consistent basis, so 3 or 4 hours a week consistently, then you can start writing off your business tax deductions immediately, as long as you have the intent to do Young Living as a business and make a profit. Now, you don't have to make a profit. You have to have the intent to make a profit. You may be able to show, or you may need to show, that you made some kind of profit or were moving in a direction to make a profit over a 3 to 7 year period. But you can write off your business expenses as long as you have the intent starting today. The best way to indicate that you have the intent to do Young Living as a business for profit is to write a real short little business plan. And Ron Mueller has a 2-page business plan on his website that you can download and just fill in the blanks. And it's free. Another way to establish that you're planning to do Young Living as a business is to set up a separate post office box for your business and to set up a business checking account for your business. And if you look around, you may have to do a little bit of research, but you can find banks that will give you business accounts with no monthly fees. We have one for our business. So it's worth doing a little bit of checking around and seeing what you can find. And we found one locally that was just fantastic. And we're just happy as we can be to be working with them. So, because we used to be with Bank of America, and they wanted to charge us about $50 to $60 a month just to have a business account with them. So don't just go to your local bank, and if they charge something, think, oh, well, I can't do that. Look around. And if you put your, if you're working Young Living as a business and you have income from Young Living, you put your checks in there. Then if you draw out of that to pay your credit card or your bills that are for your business, even if you have to put money back in there, if you're investing money in your business by putting money in there, this shows the IRS that you have the intent to create an income. And always, always, always talk with your local tax professional, because they know how to guide you in accordance with the state and federal laws that you are subject to where you live. So, Ed, do you have anything you want to add to this?
Well, just to say that I know that people who are not in business aren't in the habit of doing some of these things, but as you said, it's really very easy. I had to train myself to every time I drove my pickup for business purposes to fill out the log. But once you get in the habit of doing it, it's it's not a problem at all. It's just something you do, like putting the key into the ignition and turning the motor on. You get in the car and you write down the mileage and where you're going. And the other thing is, a lot of people, this is just my experience over the years, that with talking to people who are doing young living, that most of them have signed up as distributors, but they're not interested in doing it as a business. This is a common thing you hear. However, if you're a distributor, it is a business, and number one, you can still save money even if in your mind you're not doing it as a business. You're just doing it because you want to use the oils, and it helps you to pay for the oils that you get, and you want to help other people. Then in your mind you're not really selling oils, you're not really doing it as a business, but in fact legally you are, and you're entitled to these deductions. And as Jackie has pointed out, it doesn't take long, especially when you realize what you have with the oils and how they can save you money from doctor bills, from all sorts of things, that you'd be paying for your oils and getting them essentially free in a short time. And the other thing is, if you do want to do young living as a business, if you're considering that this is something you can do, if you don't take care of these things this way, then you're not really serious about doing it as a business. And any other business that you go into, you have to be serious, because a business only works if you're making money. And if you don't watch your pennies, your expenses and your income and everything carefully, you don't know whether you're making money or not. And if you don't take care of the legal tax breaks that are available to you, that could be the difference between making money and not making money in a business. So if you really are doing young living as a business and you're not taking all of the advantage of these things that you can, then you need to rethink. Perhaps you're not really thinking of this as a business. You're thinking of it more like a hobby, or like, well, I'll do this and maybe something will happen, that I'll get one of these runaway stars who becomes a diamond in 6 months, and I'll make so much money that I can stop working. Well, that's like playing the lottery every month. That could happen, but it may not. And if your attitude is that, then you're not really treating it as a business. So I guess the bottom line is, for me, that if you're in young living, if you're not treating it as a business, then you're missing a huge opportunity to pay for your oils and then some. And two, if you are doing it as a business, if you're not taking advantage of tax breaks and keeping records like this, then you're not really treating it as a business. So those are my thoughts, and I just hope that people out there will take this to heart and realize that they can save themselves money, make money, and really another advantage that is that when you're talking to people about young living, then you come across as a professional, because it is a business. It's not some fly-by-night thing. We have a wonderful product, and if you treat it as a business, other people pick up on that it is a business, it is serious, and the bottom line is pay for your oils, or if you want, build a business and be able to, like we did while we had these medical problems for, nearly a year and a half. That check keeps coming in from Young Living. If we hadn't had that, we didn't have insurance coverage, because of not being able to get insurance from past health problems that Jacqui had, and I never took advantage of getting the kind of insurance that most people my age have. So we really would have been in huge trouble if it hadn't been for Young Living and if we hadn't been treating it as a business.
Now, Ed mentioned that, hobbies, and this is something I found on the internet. Some people may try to write off losses they've incurred from a side business like horse breeding or a small business making and selling handcrafted toys or whatever, but the IRS requires taxpayers to show they are going into ventures with the intention of making a profit. And while if you lose money year after year, and you really are making an effort and you can show that you're making an effort, then they see that as you're trying. But if you lose money year after year, then they think this is just a hobby, and the only reason they've got they're writing it off is because they did it with the whole purpose of creating a loss so they could reduce their tax bill. And if you don't do the things necessary to show that you're doing this as a business, and what does that mean? Doing meetings one-on-one or little meetings in your home or wherever, at the local coffee shop, wherever is comfortable for you, a local restaurant, your office away from home, whatever that might be. If you're doing things on a regular basis, and it doesn't have to be a lot, but you have to be doing it on a regular basis and showing that you're actually trying to create this business and make it a profitable business. So Ed and I, because we had always had to do this for the companies that we worked for, and also because when we owned our own engineering company, we had to do it because we had to be able to justify our hours and keep track of our hours. We keep logs of everything we do every day. Now, we don't keep a totally detailed log, but we put the date on the top of the page and we write down, talked with X about X for this amount of time, that sort of thing. Or we'll just take notes, like if I'm on the phone and I'm talking to somebody, I'll just put down a few notes on the date and the name of the person that I talked with, maybe their phone number. And we keep these logs, which we're just doing that. We would do that in the course of talking to people anyway, so it's never been something we had to train ourselves to do. But that is something that they will look at as a record of you actually working at your business. Now, the efforts that are going to see your Young Living business grow the most, and you will hear this from a lot of professional network marketers, a lot of from the most successful people in network marketing or any business, but especially in network marketing, is 80% of what you do every day as a network marketer should be in locating and meeting new people, promoting yourself, your product, or something to new people, talking with new people. 80% is finding and cultivating relationships with new people. And you may never actually have them in your business, but that is part of what you're supposed to be doing as a network marketer, is meeting and cultivating new relationships, finding out how you can help someone solve a problem, and maybe you can be mutually helpful to each other by referring people to each other. I mean, there are a lot of different options. But if you keep track of what you do with just little things, keeping a log, keeping a vehicle mileage log, having that envelope where you enter your expenses and your income, then you've got all the records you need to be able to show the IRS that you are working this as a business, that you are serious, and roughly how much time you're putting in. So that's really key to being able to prove that you're doing it as a business if you get audited, is your record keeping. And it can take 5 or 10 minutes a day. It really is not that big a deal, folks. It can take a lot more than that if you don't really make it simple. You can make it really hard, but I don't recommend that. And the easiest, simplest thing is to have a good local tax consultant or accountant who knows about the tax advantages available to home business owners, because there are a lot of tax professionals that will give you faulty advice because they don't understand what's really available to a home business business owner, a home-based business owner. So you need to make sure they have an understanding of that. And I can highly recommend Laura Lee Wellman as someone who does. And I'm sure there are any number of others. There's a guy in our group down in Georgia, and I have no doubt whatsoever that he would be ideal. If you want his name, I haven't used him personally, but if you want his name, just let me know. And find somebody.
I've met him too, and he is, you know, when I went down there, I did a program for him, and he's a pretty sharp guy.
So if you don't have somebody in your area that you trust, then these are two people we could provide information for, and we know that they would know how to help you. It's always great if you've got somebody nearby that you trust, because you know they're nearby and it's easy. For us, we've had this relationship with Laura Lee for many years, so it was easy. And we know that she understands the different deductions that can be taken from a home business and what kind of impact that's going to have on you long term. So they can tell you how to set up accounts, how to allocate things if you need to know that. But most people don't need to know that. You just need to have these envelopes and these logs, and that's about it. Make sure you have a good system so you can get your checkbook balanced every month. If you don't know how to do that, they can teach you how. So this is the value, part of the value of having someone locally to be able to help you with any tax questions. And I guess, has anybody online got any questions? Anything you want to add? You can raise your hands if you do. I don't see any questions submitted. I don't see any hands going up, so I guess that's it for this evening. Thanks, guys. I appreciate you being here. Ed, thank you. And
I enjoyed it.
We will have our next business training. We've changed our business training to the second Thursday of the month at 7 p.m. Central. Next month, our business training is going to be a live training in Missouri, so we won't be online next month. But for those of you who are coming, hopefully, Dana Christensen is going to show us how to use the Zyto Compass and a new program she has to be able to build your young living business. Oh, I see that maybe we've got a question. What about donating oils? Mary, could you be a little more specific? What do you mean by what about donating oils? Are you saying
to a church, or
if you donate oils to a standard accepted charity that has a charity status and they're recognized by the government, then yeah, you would be able to write off the value of those oils. Okay, if someone couldn't afford an oil and I gave someone the oil, well, that becomes a business expense for you, and you need to document that you gave that person an oil. Just write on a note what you gave them and when, and their name and phone number and the date, and put that in your monthly file of receipts that you keep, okay? How do you determine the value of the samples of oil you give out? Okay, samples, that's a different type of question. If you are writing off your $100 a month or more for your essential rewards order, and we actually are able to write off more. Laura Lee handles that, so I don't know what percentage we are able to write off, but she handles all of that for us. So that would probably come out of whatever you write off for your monthly cost of doing business. If you're writing off all of your products except for a small amount that you use personally, then you don't have to worry about documenting a drop of oil that you gave somebody. You don't have to do that. But you definitely want to document, if you give someone a whole bottle, you definitely want to do that. Okay? Any other questions? Did I answer that all right? Do you understand? That was from Carla, the last one. Okay, great. Okay. All right. All right. Any other questions before we go? Okay. Then I guess that will do it for this evening. Thank you very much for joining us. You guys have a great month, and we hope to see you in Missouri on October the 9th. Good night, everyone. God bless.
Good night.